Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum. Ji ayanum, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunashumme, washmale, ohio gozaimasu, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, halishuma chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho gracias, suavia, balli kare, hosh galden, nayo sayo, huyamora, chivato, chihal, jod, kalimera, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV1 and watching World this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and with me, I'm very lucky to have been joined by my very well-learned colleague, who happens to be Miss Mariam Zia. Today happens to be Friday. Jummah Mubarak to each and every one of you. We hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. But first things first, hello Mariam, assalamu alaikum. How is your energy today?
Walaikum assalam. My energy is as good as it could be in this morning, and Friday is of course a blessed day of the week as well, and of course we are also looking forward and moving towards the weekend as well, so the energy is a bit more excitement,
I think
moving towards excitement as well.
And this is exactly what I wanted to speak about. So imagine that, you know, that for me, I'm the type of a guy, I'm the type of a person who really does not kind of believe in procrastinating, being lazy and whatnot. So if I'm working on a weekend, I'm more excited on a Friday, you know, and if I'm not unfortunately working on a weekend, I certainly do not think that there's any essence in my weekend left. So I'm alhamdulillah glad, I'm thankful to Allah Almighty for giving me all that work which I have as of now. Because right before, after the program, I have to leave for Lahore. And so I cannot say it right now, but obviously, ladies and gentlemen, there's this program which will be on air, tomorrow too as well. So please make sure that you keep an eye out for what we are doing, because the 3rd National Digital Health Conference is taking place. Doctors from all over the world are actually coming down to Lahore, making sure that we will be talking about technological interventions. What about you? What do you look forward to a weekend?
So, Shahzad, when we talk about weekends, I personally believe that self-care is very important, and self-care is something that in our culture we think it's selfish. Right? So I think it's
self-care.
True, true. So for me, self-care is very important. I think it's a luxury, and I got my me time for myself, and I meditate, do yoga, and read my books that I don't get to catch up on, do some, you know, watch movies, and most importantly, spend time with my family and get in touch with my friends. So I think these things are very important when we talk about self-care, because working is very important, but it is also very important to you know, take out time for ourselves as well, so that we keep that energy high throughout the month, and we are always excited for life.
It's
and
good
excited
to be with yourself.
Get up.
You know, for example, you know, but how I would like to put it is that, you know, kadi apne aap nu padhe nahi. I think everybody might have heard that as well. So please make sure that you give yourself time, and it's okay to sometimes sit back, relax, be by yourself, take a day off. You know, there's no problem with it, as far as you're on that track that, you know, you're going in the right direction. But ladies and gentlemen, while we've spoken about it, obviously me, Mariam, everybody, you know, every member of our team, every single day make sure that we contribute towards the progress of our country. You know, so whatever role Allah has bestowed upon us, we make sure that every single day we're going to do justice with it.
Not just give it 100%.
Not just give it 100%, but rather 200%. And make sure that, you know, that we come on air with that energy, with that fervor, with that zeal, that we actually have a lasting impact onto the people. And we've always been, you know, over here at PT World, alhamdulillah, this has been a part of our policy. And, you know, thanks to our producer, Jamshed Sultan Sahab, because he's always made sure that, you know, that we work in the right direction, make sure that we have all the positives to talk about. But it's not just us, you know, there are people beyond media, there are people, you know, from every walk of life who are contributing. And today, Mariam, you know, I'm glad and I'm very thankful to my Allah Almighty that alhamdulillah, Allah has actually given so much success to our morning show that, you know, people from all walks of life, not that just that, at the highest level of their lives, you know, come to our shows and make sure that, you know, that they're going to tell about their life stories and how they've been contributing. So without any further ado, do you think that we should be introducing our wonderful guest?
Of course, because we are very excited for our today's guest.
Exactly.
And she's doing a lot for our country. When we talk about sustainable development goals, of course, we know that, Shahzad, there are 17 sustainable development goals, and Pakistan is progressing towards achieving those sustainable development goals, thanks to our guest, wonderful guest that we have.
So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we're very lucky that we've been joined by Special Advisor to the Prime Minister, Minister of State, Parliamentary Task Force on Sustainable Development Goals, and she happens to be Honorable Ms. Romina Khurshid Alam. Hello ma'am, assalamu alaikum, good morning. How are you feeling today?
Welcome to PTV World.
Walaikum assalam. First of all, thank you so very much, and I feel like very energetic, and I really want to appreciate your producer and to you guys that the energy, the positive energy which you're giving, that is very much needed. And I wish and I hope that in every morning show, if this sort of energy can be given, the people gonna be charged. Like I am, like, you know, I don't know, I'm speechless.
Thank you so much, and this is for sure going on our social media as well. You know, just after we're done with the show as well. But ma'am, you know, so obviously, do you want us to start from your professional life or from your personal life?
It's your job, you know better.
All right, so I think
I give you full leverage, start from where, because I'm an open book, I have no issues.
Thank you so much for this liberty. So I think we'll start from your professional career and then come down to your personal life as well. So ma'am, to be very honest, I think when we speak of the sustainable development goals, a lot of people might not even know that as a convener what your responsibility is. People are like, okay, yaar, you know, when are we able to, you know, achieve all these 17 sustainable development goals? And it is not something which we would label as a walk in the park. So where are we on in terms of sustainable development goals? And the sole reason to ask this is that I still remember Hassan Iqbal Saab's speech, you know, when sustainable development goals came in, and you know, when every country was supposed to comply to it, you know, it was PMLN's government then. You know, so where are we now in terms of sustainable development goals?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Shazad, and you know, both of you. It's a great honor for me. Why I'm saying it's an honor, because and I really want to appreciate you people and your producer and the PTV world, because usually people, they don't want to talk on the media about SDGs because they think that, okay, this is something which may be not giving us the rating or something. But I believe nothing is much more bigger than this agenda, because I believe this is the biggest political agenda as well. And as you have already mentioned about Mr. Hassan Iqbal, of course, we all call him the pioneer in that.
True.
And on that note, I really want to tell you, and of course, because of you, through you, that lots of the people, that 2016, Mr. Ayaz Sadiq Sahab was the Speaker of the National Assembly. That time the resolution was being passed, and that the Pakistan's parliament is the first ever parliament who's having a proper dedicated sustainable development goals secretariat.
Wow.
And it's one of its own kind, and it's highly equipped with all you know, all the facilities, ITEC. It's properly ITEC based. And then of course the setup of all that, the criteria in which you can say it's an apolitical forum. It's an apolitical forum in which all political parties are, like 29 members from the parliament and 9 members from the Senate, are both houses are being the part of it. And then all the 4 provinces, from all the 4 provinces we have the dedicated secretariats and 2 legislative assemblies. Like when we say legislative assemblies, I really want that the people should know that we are talking about the Azad Jammu Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan.
Right.
Of course, we cannot be complete without them. So in that way, it's moreover, because after the 18th Amendment, you know, the provinces are being independent. So this is moreover the coordination, collaboration, that how we can work. Now getting back to the point that what Pakistan has been done so far, of course, other than the huge challenges, economical challenges, or other than that, it's not that I never take that SDGs goals into the political way or in the political sort of a fight.
And I think this is important for people to understand as well, that, you know, how SDGs shouldn't really be politicized, because of the fact that, imagine, I think you being a convener of the SDGs, you know, your responsibility happens to be to make sure that there's enough policy making, there's enough legislation, so that, you know, there's a conducive environment for the country to achieve all those SDGs.
But at the same time, how difficult it is to collaborate across all the stakeholders, because we know that a Sustainable Development Goals Secretariat is supposed to be collaborating across the parties, and of course we know that there are a lot of opinions coming on from that. And how difficult is this legislation?
Well, when we talk about the legislation or how difficult, to be very honest, alhamdulillah, I believe that where there's a will, there is a way. And if I have like the positive approach which you both are using, I think that positive energy, because now the science also proves that when you have the positive energy and when you have a positive will, things get automatically straightened up for you.
And although the things were
although the things were not very easy in the beginning, but I don't go into the previous things, that what happened, why not happened. So what I've done in the first, I've taken the charge of SDG Secretariat last June, and till so far, everything, whatever we have done, it is available on the website of National Parliament. It's available on the NA, on the Twitter, on the Insta, and I'm really happy that lots of youngsters are doing internship. But other than that, when you talk about the legislation and relations with the other political party, with a very wholehearted, with a very great pride, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful to Allah Almighty that I've got this great help and kindness from my Allah, that all the political parties on this subject are together. We have tried, like when you talk about the legislation, my dear, Pakistan is already overpopulated in the sense of the legislation. So, and what we have done, that we have already done a research from the side of the Parliament, that from 1973 till now, what sort of legislations are being done, according to which goal, and that is very soon is going to be on this website of NA. And then when we are talking about the provinces, so what this secretariat do, that we try to get engaged with all the 4 provinces and national meetup. The first thing which we need on urgent basis on the war footage, that time I have done, that was the national meetup. That time, although the current scenario, sorry Shahzad, I just wanted to complete
go ahead.
On that time, although the current situation on that time was so hard, so the hot water was going on everywhere, but I got a success that we have got the success of doing that national meetup, in which we came up with a joint communique. In that joint communique, the issues were like what provinces are facing the challenges, what are the things which have been missing, which linkages are missing, what sort of a technical, legislative sort of a support we needed. So that all has been done in that joint communique. So in this way, things are, I'm to be very honest, and you will see that I would request all the people who are watching this show that please, if you get time, just do visit our SDG Secretariat Twitter of National Parliament, and then on our Instagram, and I'm sure everybody will came across to know that what we have done. Even not only the big challenges, the big things. If you remember the last year, Islamabad was under the threat of the urban flooding.
Yes.
But it was not happened, alhamdulillah. Why? Because at the right time we intervened, we have called all the CDA, all the municipalities and all that, and then we have given them the task. And I've asked them that how much time you will take. They said, madam, 3 or 4 days, you know, and they think that madam is a very fashiony type of a madam. Madam will not going to see, she will forget. But on the 3rd day, I've given them the soft reminder, and 4th day, I along with my team, I was there. So they thought that, okay, she's crazy, she will gonna come. So you know, it's always how you take the things on.
Of course.
So it's not important to criticize all the time. I believe that being a part of them, take everybody along and let's.
And as a political figure, Honorable Madam, what I would like to ask you over here is, because a lot of people might learn from this as well. As a political figure, you know, what we kind of admire is that, you know, that you were able to kind of get all the stakeholders onto that one platform and then discuss whatever, you know, the challenges were. But for you to kind of ensure that that national meetup is going to take place regardless of all the biases, regardless of all the inequalities, regardless of probably, you know, that the inclusiveness wasn't really attained, how were you able to do it? You know, because today it happens to be PDM's government, you know, so we certainly have to refer it to like that, and everybody has their own interest. You know, everybody will make sure that, okay, you know, we speak about our halqa, we speak about our constituency, about our people. So how were you able to bring them on one page?
You know, Shahzad, the best part in it is that SDGs means, like, you know, usually people think that maybe it's only the UN's agenda. It's some sort of an international agenda. And I always tell them that, listen, it's nobody's agenda. It's my agenda. It's your agenda. It's Halka's agenda, like constituency's agenda. It's a local governance agenda. It's everyone's agenda. And no agenda is bigger than this SDGs. So when you talk about how difficult it was, yes, it wasn't difficult, because on the national meetup day, when it was on that day, so there was a very, very hot water type of a situation that time in Punjab. So most of the people told me, Rumina, just cancel it. We are very much sure nobody gonna show up. Nobody is going to show up. I said, don't say like this. Let's be optimistic. It's okay. We have arranged everything. If nobody is going to come, they are going to answerable to their job towards Allah and to their people.
Of course.
And if if like from my side, you know, I'm going to say that, okay, I've done my part of job what I have to do. And here I would really like to appreciate, and I'm humble and obliged, and I really want to appreciate, and I want to say thanks to the leadership of the speaker, Honorable Speaker Raja Parvez Ashraf, and my party, before that my party, because when I asked them that I want to become the convener of SDGs Taskforce, because this is a pro bono work, you're not going, you don't get any perks and privileges on that. It's not like the standing committee, you know, mostly people think that, okay, when you go into the standing committee,
car, no fuel,
not for this.
Nothing at all. So why would you take such a task where you knew that, you know, you won't be you know, gifted with anything, which or probably, you know, all the perks which came along the job. Why did you do that in the first place?
Isn't it a big gift that I'm sitting over here and talking about SDGs and the globe is going to watch me? And another thing that, you know, as I always believe, Shahzad, that everybody came in the world with some reason.
True.
And if there is, where there's a will, there's a way. And if you really have that thirst that I have to do something, maybe whatever I'm doing, it's not big. Maybe whatever I'm doing, it's a needle in a haycock. But needle matters a lot.
Of course, needle matters
internationally or nationally, it's, for me, it's a big achievement that now Pakistan is being recognized at so many places. Alhamdulillah. Then so many things which we are doing globally are being recognized. And like in the few months back, I was being called in the South Korea and I was being acknowledged. Then we were being acknowledged on different part of the globe, and I think this is more important.
And that's exactly what I wanted to ask. You know, when we speak about international relations and how, you know, the international members are actually on one page with Pakistan, and what were your efforts in terms of SDGs? So where have you been? You know, let's talk about China, let's talk about other parts of the world as well, and how did it go?
Right, and also, Madam, when we talk about Sustainable Development Goals, it's a very broader spectrum. So how do you prioritize some of the specific areas that these are the areas we are going to, you know, work on and to ensure their implementation? Because 17 sustainable goals, and, you know, there are a number of areas in which there are a lot of gaps on legislation as well. So how do you, you know, specify those areas?
The first of all, I think one thing else before going towards your question, the one question you have said that when you're not going to get any benefit from this. So, you know, I believe becoming a member of a parliament, that is a huge responsibility which my party has given to me. Like they have selected me, I came up, like in the last term I was the last number, this time I was on the top 10, and then other than that my work being acknowledged, and I think this is much more bigger thing. And then talking about, and then it's your responsibility that when somebody like your producer has chosen you, he has selected you. Now it's up to you how you bring life to your program and how you're sincere with your work and what you want from your side. So this is something which is one thing. And then getting back to the international relations, on the SDG side, when we talk about the international relations, because my biggest challenge for myself is to let the world know that what Pakistan actual is. How the Pakistan is working, because it's not what they have seen. There is two differences among, because as international countries are listening and so many people are listening, and diaspora and other people are listening. So it's very important to understand that the parliament and the government. Parliament is supreme, which have extreme power, where you can ask the ministries, like executive, you can ask them that you come and tell us what you're doing. We can ask them the questions. Same goes when it comes, and the parliament has itself a great strength, you know. I got goosebumps when, you know, honestly, when I just think about that, okay, Allah has given me this thing to do, you know, it's not an easy thing.
Of course, that is an honor.
Yeah. So when I talk about SDGs, you know, what we have done on the international relations, because when, you know, I've joined on the 2nd June, you know, the high risk, that was a high time of the floods and everything. So although we've been able somehow to protect Islamabad, but unfortunately our Sindh and all that, you know, we all know that disaster happened. But for that matter, we have on a very emergency basis, we have asked the IPU, the Intra-Parliamentarian Union, that we would really like to host a regional seminar of Asia Pacific to come over Pakistan to understand the issues, and, you know, let's discuss about it.
It was last year, right?
Yes, so in which we have done that, because I believe that, of course, we all talk a lot about climate change and all, but we can, and about the COP as well, but I honestly believe that you cannot international community cannot mix apples with the oranges.
True.
And every time I say, because every region have its own issues.
Of course.
So for that matter, we have, like, I'm taking a very strong stance on it. Along with my team, I would really like to mention, whatever today the success of SDGs is not alone Rumina Khurshid Alam. It's my staff like Marine and Ali, Sadaf, even my custodian staff as well, Ishad Saab and Azra Saiba, and my custodian PN Kulsoom and Bhatti Saab as well, because it's all teamwork. We just a very small team.
And not just that, what I certainly want to congratulate you is that this is something that, that you're making sure that the youngsters of the country even shadow you and then, become a part of the legislation too, because you happen to be the Vice President of the Young Parliamentary Forum too.
Yeah.
And the youngest intern you've had is somebody who's in grade 3. So why don't you tell us a little more about it?
I'll just complete before that international, and then one name I don't want to miss, that is Hasnat as well, of course. So everyone is doing the joint effort. So in which we try to engage, like in one day, sometimes we got engagement with three diplomats as well. And then we are trying to come up with a consortium. Then we are working on the international side as well. Along with the China, we want to learn and work along moreover on their global development initiatives, that how they have worked on it, how they've achieved, like on the no poverty side. So these are something, and why the question which you have asked, every goal, when you say that prioritize, it's not priority, it's need, it's basic. So every goal is attached with every other goal. So this is like same like a child is getting, and umbilicus through umbilicus is getting the food. So when you're getting back towards the youngsters, my wholehearted effort is to get engaged with not only the college and university students. I just want to engage with the school, with the grade. While you talk about the three, her name is Fatima Binate Imran.
Wow.
She is 3 years, she's in grade 3, and she's doing a great job. She's our very cute young little intern, and she made a presentation today as well for International Youth Skill Day. And that is, and the interest she's taking, and not only she, we have another so many youngsters from schools, from O levels, A levels, they are being the part of the parliament, and now they're doing internships, and they're doing a great job. Like it was a very famous speech from the Parliament. I hope you remember in the the celebrations of the Parliament Golden Jubilee, which we have done over there. There was a young boy whose name is Ali Akbar. He has given a very huge, massive, heavy speech, and that was being globally very much highly appreciated. So he's also one of our young intern. So this is how we are trying to get engaged with the schools. And then we are trying that, and if inshallah Allah will give me the opportunity to come next time, we'll see. Although I'm not from any political family background, so I don't want anybody, okay, she's from political background. No. It's all the will of Allah, because I believe without His will we cannot come. So, but other than if I wouldn't make it, I don't mind. I know how to get the things done.
But Alhamdulillah, you've made it. Alhamdulillah, you're trying, you're pushing every single day, and this is something which matters. You know that you're not leaving any stone unturned. The rest obviously depends on Allah Almighty. But having said so, speaking about the young parliamentarians as well, in addition to that, I would certainly want to ask you, who was that one pivotal visionary behind the Youth Ambassador program, because that's something which is going to have an impact. And the way you've been talking about it, it actually ensures that just at the grassroots level, people would have more awareness now, alhamdulillah.
So it means you have done your whole homework.
Alhamdulillah.
Well, Shehzad, I think it's not, I don't want to take the credit all, but yeah, it was one of my great sharing. I never say that I'm so much knowledgeable, no, because life is a book and everybody has to read, and knowledge, you can't say that I'm perfect and I know everything. You still so many things. I'm so humbled by your kind words, but yeah, that I wanted, because I believe that we need to have in the schools, colleges, we need to have the ambassadors of the parliament, because there's a huge communication gap. People doesn't know about. It's so sad that our youngsters, they just know that the parliamentarians are the only one who can sit on the talk shows and they're fighting and they're doing bashing and this all. This is part of that thing, because it's not in Pakistan. It's everywhere in the world.
Well, we can do it in a more refined manner.
Yeah, we can. But we have seen in we have seen in the different thing, but I always say one thing, Shehzad, this is what you want to see.
True.
You can't blame us.
Obviously.
Of course.
No one can blame only the politicians. This is the rating you people want to see. The rating media channels are getting for. And then this is the things on the social media everybody is fighting for. I'm not, because my agenda is entirely different. I also used to do the talk shows.
But since we are talking about, I'm very sorry, I'll have to mention it over here, but you know, there are certain political figures who always make sure that they're going to maintain their discipline no matter what happens, no matter what the other person is going to say, you know, and majority of those leaders are certainly for from PMLN or Pakistan People's Party too, because they've always made sure. Then at the same time, from the same parties, we do see a lot of people who do a lot of bashing together.
I think that again, I will say, Shehzad, that this is
it's a choice.
And I think one need and you know, when it's not sometimes when we are sitting with because you know what I do. The most when interns came to me when we got a time, so I sit with them. I sat with them. I discuss with them. I ask them that they can ask any sort of a question, no matter it is about that, like, have I ever been in some love story, or have I been somebody's choice, have I been done something, any, you know, any, because I want them to like get in touch in a way to get it open, get the comfort zone. That what sort of a challenges I've been through, how I was being, like I was like, mostly they thought that okay, that these parliamentarians are from some elite class, maybe they are something very much acknowledged.
So while we are at it, I'm very sorry, I know that Mariam was supposed to ask a question, but you know, this is in connection with what you just spoke about. So I don't know whether majority of the people would know about it or not, but you know, you're a convert, alhamdulillah, you know, so you converted from Christianity to being a Muslim, and you were born in Gujranwala, and then for a woman to convert, you know, in a family which is male dominated all across the country, that's how things are, that's how the culture is. Things are changing though, but was it difficult for you? Was it a personal choice? You know, how did you think that, okay, you know, now, alhamdulillah, you know, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Well, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Well, Shehzad, this question, like before that you have given me that energy, and now of course I need to give this answer in a calm way. It's something, it was my personal choice. It's I don't know how people, I don't say like the international community is listening, I don't know how people think that only, unfortunately, like, you know, people think that there are, I don't say that everything is very much bling bling over here, the minorities are getting everything and all, but the situation is not that God forbid worse the way people are portraying. So unfortunately one thing, but when it comes to me, it is properly because and then I'm the first ever parliamentarian in the history of Pakistan who has embraced Islam, and in my mature age, it's not, I have not done for any man, for any pressure or anything, it's my choice. So it is, that is the reason it's never been, I've never used it for the political reasons. I've never used it for every...
and I've never even heard it on television anyway, you know, it was specifically because of the fact that I was researching, I was reading about you, and then there was this something which I got to know about.
Although it's not an easy thing, I don't know how people take it, but it was not easy for me, and yes, it was been a very tough journey. It is still going on, but I think it's everywhere.
Mashallah.
And I'm focused on what I'm doing, what I'm like, for me, this is for me. It's not for anyone else. Although people think that, no, how it can be happen that maybe she must be with someone she want to do, but for me it's my choice, and that is why
and Allah isko aapka ajr dega inshallah.
But lastly let's talk about the future of you know, Sustainable Development Goals Secretariat. When we talk about how do you see, what is the future vision for sustainable development in Pakistan?
Well,
and of course you are ambassador of Pakistan in the whole world, and I would like you to, you know, give some motivational and inspirational message for the youth as well.
Well, for the youth, I just really want to tell them that they should be proud that Pakistan's Parliament SDG Secretariat is being globally acknowledged. 1. 2, we have done a great success in the IPU, International Asia Pacific region, on which we have done a seminar on which 38 countries were being invited in that, and few of them were virtually being participated. And then we are trying to engage more with the youth. We are trying that our level best that this SDG should come into the curriculum of the schools as well. And then more important is that one thing which I really want to tell our youngsters, that this SDGs is not any government's like responsibility only. It's
course.
my responsibility, it's your responsibility. And by taking small steps, by taking small measures, like you can stop wasting water, you can look after the things, less use of plastic. There are so many things which you can do. As the time is short, I wish they can do a proper series of a program in which we can tell you and brief you more about it. And then another thing that in the UN this time, the Pakistan SDG Secretariat is going to present Pakistan over there and to tell the world that what we are. And another thing, the biggest achievement as well, that the Pakistan's Parliament and the SDG Secretariat made it possible that we have acknowledged the international diaspora of Pakistan and all the UN agencies and the UN and all those philanthropists and those people who are working for Pakistan on our climate issues and all the things we have acknowledged. Unanimously we got that resolution being passed from the Parliament. So there are more number of a list, but I don't think so you have much time.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ms. Rumina Khurshid Alam Sahiba, for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation with you. And to be very honest, you know what? Truth prevails. And the best part is that the way you've resonated the same energy back to us is something that we appreciate. Thank you for being
law of attraction.
Yeah, thank you for being our ambassador in the rest of the world as well and bringing so much good name to Pakistan. And that too in a very short span of time. So congratulations to you. And thank you so much for being with us. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, it's people like these, where we started from, going to come back to that, who happen to be our ambassadors. It's people like these who are actually the torch bearers. It's people like these who happen to be the pioneers of change as well. And we certainly admire their efforts. And it is our sole responsibility to make sure that, that their achievements, Pakistan achievements, actually reaches out to all of you as well. For people who are watching us in 47 different countries, with that, we want to head out towards a short break. But once you guys will come back, now we certainly want to be in conversation with somebody who's going to tell us about another ambassador, which actually increases the reach of the Pakistani nation in the rest of the world. And that certainly is our mother tongue, Urdu. We'll be talking about it. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome back and a very good morning to all the people who are watching us out there. And when we talk about ambassadors of Pakistan, of course, Pakistan's cultural identity is very important. And talking about cultural identity, Shehzad, Urdu language is our very important aspect of identity when we talk about. So
and the best part, Mariam, today over here is that imagine, obviously, it's our responsibility that that on an English channel we certainly speak in English, but ladies and gentlemen, imagine that on an English morning show we're going to discuss Urdu because we still believe how important it is.
It is part of our identity.
Thank you so much for saying that. And it's because of the fact that just a few days ago, Mariam, I was thinking this, that that I was trying to speak in Punjabi with my daughters, and I was like, "Kudiye kithe ja rahi hain, ki kar rahi hain?" And they were so unable to identify whether what I was trying to convey to them. And that was when it hit me very hard that I'm probably the last generation who's actually speaking Punjabi in my family.
And even our younger generation doesn't even speak Urdu now, right? So this is very important.
Where are you going? What are you doing? And all of that. So what we really need to do is that we really need to kind of make sure that that we are those people who talk about how to protect our culture, how to protect our identity, because it definitely have a role to play, and that too in the representation of the people of Pakistan.
Wherever we go is very important for us.
That's true. So which is why, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've been joined by somebody who happens to be a poet, critic, columnist as well, and he is Mr. Muhammad Akbar Niazi. Hello sir, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Kaise hain aap?
Walaikum assalam.
So let's start with a very basic question, that when we talk about Urdu literature and Urdu language, how do you see that it shapes our cultural identity, and how important it is for us Pakistanis?
Well, Mariam, it is gone almost 8 or more centuries, while Urdu and Urdu literature is traveling through decades and centuries.
True.
And more than 8 centuries. So every century, every decade has its own realities, its own affairs. So Urdu literature is writing it up.
Right.
For the coming generations. this is the only huge knowledge which is writing past, present and future, even future. I mean literature is indicating regarding the all affairs of all decades. Either it's culture, either it's civilization, either it's religious ideologies, or affairs of those times when poets and writers were over there. They were observing all the matters and they were writing.
Right. Yes. So this is very important that Urdu literature has seen a lot of literary movements as well. So how do you see that these movements have evolved over time and they have contributed to our own social understandings of the issues, and you know, especially our youth, how does you see, how does a youth perceive these issues?
Well, history of
if it is an issue.
Yes, history of movements in Urdu literature. This was started in 12th century,
right?
When it was the government of Mughal emperors and Ghalib and Mir time, right, when they were writing about poetry and all the contemporary issues regarding to death that time. So even some people say that that was only the poetry or a literature of lover and beloved and so on, but this is not true. Actually, poet and writer was writing about the time.
Right.
You see one couplet of Mirza Ghalib that Kaaba kis muh se jaoge Ghalib, sharam tumko magar nahi aati. So it was a confession. While we come to the movements of Urdu literature, first of all, Akhtar Shirani started a movement, a romantic movement. Actually, the purpose of this movement was this, that you have to express your feelings without any restriction, without any interference. So he was writing. Later on, when the movement of Pakistan and independence was going on, then Sir Syed Ahmad Khan started a rational movement, Akli Tehreek in Urdu we pronounce it, and that was actually to brought the people up to know the needs of their time, to learn the latest and knowledge, latest education, to educate them, to make their minds for independence, and these were the main purposes. So that was a bit different thing and very creative thing.
Exactly, which is why in addition to that, obviously, first of all, I would want to say something for you, and that is that hame kisi ki unchai se kya lena, apni gehrai mein mukammal hai hum. But in addition to that, you know, when we speak of Urdu, obviously all our media houses are in Urdu. This is the only English channel in the country. You know, in schools we have Urdu. You know, it's a compulsory subject for anybody. Do you think that there's any harm to our national language out there, that God forbid if you're not going to pay the right attention or the right amount of time to our mother tongue, you know, God forbid we might even lose it to a point? Do you think that we are at that point, or do you think that, you know, that okay, Urdu is in safe hands, but we want more people to kind of contribute to Urdu literature?
Well, we have no harm from English or any language, but actually the major thing that we are not making our children understand that we have to train them, we have to educate them to learn about our national language and our mother tongue or all local languages. This is the need of time, because the content is very important. While we study in English, I have no problem with English, or I am not against the English language. We should learn all the languages, all the education, all the departments, all the fields, science, everything. But when it comes to a region,
true,
its own languages, its mother languages, its national languages, the only languages that will make them much better understanding regarding any field, any subject.
But sir, the problem over here is that now with the latest, in fact the newer generation, and not just that, Mariam, in addition to that, you know, what I would want to say is that, you know, when I was in my college, you know, I think most of the students were failing in Urdu exam as well, and it gets difficult for them. Example, Mashirti Aloom, Dil ke khuliye, you know, so imagine the terminology. And you know, it's exactly like how, you know, for somebody who only speaks Urdu, you know, English might sound like this for them. Where do you think that this change actually came about within our own society, and what do you think were the causes of this change, that we started to think that Urdu was difficult and English was easier for us to understand? And that's the main cause of whatever we are discussing today. Please.
Yes. Actually, the problem is that while we ignore our own language, mother language, in a very early stage, Quaid-e-Azam ordered that in next 15 years you have to put your national languages in your offices and school and education system.
True.
But it was ignored by the feudal system.
Okay.
Because they were so inspired of English people, and that was coming from East Indian Company, actually.
Filmes सारी वो देखते थे, ड्रामे वो
Yes, yes. Or actually, this is a complex.
True.
That we have to talk in English. We conversate our kids with in English.
Mummy, daddy.
And the private school system, when it was introduced in our communities, in our societies, and we want that our kids speak English so fluency and so such kind of things. These are the complex in our
and
they never conversate them in mother language. They never try to conversate in national language. They don't want that their kids, even they forbid them to go to their elders, especially grandmother, grandpa, so that they will talk in your local language, and it will disturb their pronunciation and
not
language.
Just that, in addition to that, I still remember there was this one drama serial which was on air on PTV. I think it was back in 1990s, that we were so inspired by the West. And I'm very sorry that that I'll have to kind of speak and do justice with my job over here. I don't know whether how many of you remember, but this is a very famous dialogue where this gentleman says, "Ve Rano." So this gentleman is trying to speak in English, and then Rano answers back, "Wait, what way?" So all of those things. So ladies and gentlemen, I think that that this influence we've had from the West is something that we've been under, but now alhamdulillah, as we've been more educated, we have more institutes out there, we have more people like you to talk about it, we have more media awareness. I think people are coming back to their roots as well. But why do you think any society will take inspiration from any other society? What attracts us, or what do you think was the core reason of our attraction towards the West, and how they kind of inspired us with their movies and dramas and everything?
And also, Shahzad, what can we do to, encourage you to embrace their own legacy of Urdu language? Because of course we know that Urdu is very rich,
and I must say that I really need to pay rich tribute to people of Karachi, because they always make sure that we speak the right Urdu. So imagine I was acting in a drama serial, and while I was acting, my director used to tell me that Punjabi aa rahi hai aapki Urdu mein. It has to be like this.
That's it.
And then I was like, okay, what's wrong? So he's like, because you speak Punjabi, so the way we speak Urdu is a little Punjabi version of it. So then that was the time when I started correcting my Urdu ki acha ab aise bolna hai. So why do you think that we have taken inspiration from the West back in those days?
Actually, problem this Shahzad Khan, that our people are inspired because they are not well aware with their culture, their ideology. They were not treated as well in justice, in meaning of justice. Our tradition is very strong, very rich. There are so many other different countries like Italy, England, Canada. Their culture is still very rich because they protect their cultures. And if I say about the culture, literature and its role in society, literature is the only guardian and huge data, huge knowledge which is protecting our culture, our ideology, our traditions, our language, and this is happening from the last 8 centuries. You see, culture actually access to the minds of readers, and messaging. Culture is basically doing messaging.
True.
Whatever a writer feels, it is a reflection of our society. When it comes to society, there are 4 main categories according to literature and sociology experts.
I at times disagree with that. I'm very sorry, but since we do not have that much time today, so I'll let you complete first and then we'll move on, please.
Yes. It's all right, but let me talk about the ideologies. what are the theories? Reflection of society. There are some people, I agree with you, which are not fulfilling their duty, and they are not writing
and they are not the true reflection
so
of the
effective,
society.
but
Yes.
this is not the true. The real literature is standing side by side and going through.
Tu shahi hai, parwaaz hai, kaam tera, tere aage aasmaan aur bhi.
Not only this, on today, nowadays, even our writer and poets are writing so many things. Actually, the problem is this, that our literary departments, which are assigned duty from government to highlight the literature, they are not doing their work as well as they should do, just because they are you know, the corruption and so many things.
Right.
So
don't shy away. You know, these are the real menaces within the society.
You know very well. But reflection is the main theory of culture and literature, according to experts.
Of course.
What literature sees, observes, it writes. Another thing, that culture and religious reflection. Another says connection between literature and society.
Right, of course, and Urdu literature is very important when we talk about these expressions. So, talking about expressions, how do you see that Urdu literature has impacted our, you know, arts, music, because we know that the language in music has also evolved over time. So, how do you see this symbiotic relationship between the Urdu literature and different forms of culture?
The
language in dramas as well.
Yeah.
Like if you see dramas from the 80s, 90s, and now the language we are using, because we also know that Urdu is a language that embraces words from all other languages, from Persian as well, and now we use
But Mariam, what people used to write has evolved now, you know, so with passage of time, with technological intervention, you know, now what people write is something very different from what people used to write 4 decades ago.
Of course.
You know, so do you think that, you know, our columnists, poets, critics today, people who contribute towards Urdu literature are going in the right direction? Or do you think that they really need to have a reform, sit down together and make sure that they're focusing on something which will be beneficial for the future generations too, and it will have a greater shelf life?
Yes. Actually, if I say about the writers, there are 50% writers which are going through the right directions, but 50% are gone to their comfort zone just because of some restrictions. You know,
probably because it gets more clicks or views.
While resistance is a major part of literature, you know, our many writers have did resistance in past and even now, and even they gone to jails for their truth and their write-ups. So, this is not a truth. Our writers are not going through the right directions. They are writing the facts, they are resisting, but still there is something that lacks. Just because they are gone to their comfort zone, they are not aggressive in like Faiz Ahmed Faiz, Habib Jalib, they are the main examples of our Ahmed Faraz and so many other. They did so many things in their poems, in their ghazals, in their many write-ups about this. But nowadays, in our you are asking about columnists, and so you know there are so many media houses, though so many they are working for different political parties, and there are so many different things.
Let's summarize it this way, you know. So if I am supposed to ask you that towards the end of the program, what would you want, or how would you want Urdu literature to be preserved, and for people who are going to write or contribute to Urdu literature, how do you think that they can increase the shelf life of Urdu literature for future generations to come? What will you say? Please look into the camera and talk to the people out there.
Yes, first of all, we need to improve our working on literature, and especially our departments which are specially working for literatures. They should do some such kind of plannings that they brought the people closer to the literature, especially our young generation, and this is the only way we can preserve our literature. It's huge data which is having culture, history and so many times affairs, and we should do this for our coming generation, because we have to save our culture, we have to save our civilization, we have to save our religious and religion, and these are all the things which are coming from our forefathers, our elders, time to time, and we can't, if we will lose our identity, if we lose our language, mother language, our local languages, our national language, and if we lose our culture, we will lose our identity.
Exactly.
So we have to do a lot of work for this to preserve our literature.
And inshallah we'll continue to do so. You know, we over here early in the morning and making sure that we, you know, we fulfill our role. So thank you so much, Muhammad Akbar Niazi Sahab, for being with us.
And this is also important to make it relevant and vibrant as well with the evolving times.
Yes,
exactly. That is the only way.
Or rangeen kare isko.
Not rangeen as per se, but keeping it in mind, you know, our youth, that they are somehow connected with it. You know,
obviously, so, and they certainly, yeah, you know, if the parents are going to continue speaking in Urdu, you know, they'll have a better understanding of it. You know, if there's Urdu literature in their household, they will make sure that and the parents are making sure that they're going to read together. You know, they will have a better understanding. You know, how we had Siako Sabak, exactly how we had Siako Sabak. You know, how, you know, I still remember my grandmother used to always converse in Shero Shairi, you know, so those
and
were
we
the
used to read Talimo Tarbiyat in our childhood.
Talimo Tarbiyat,
actually, one thing, Shahzad, I will add that people think that there is no future for those people who are learning languages or literature, and there is no scope for their earning. Earning is another problem to get away of these subjects.
Exactly, but certainly, sir, alhamdulillah, you know, I make sure that, you know, I speak somewhat around 5 to 6 languages, and you know, I get a good earning out of it too as well. So you can always get lucky. Please make sure that you remember us all in your prayers. But very quickly towards the end, Mariam, there's one share which I'm going to say for everybody who's out there.
Please go ahead.
मुस्कुराने से शुरू और रुलाने से खत्म. मुस्कुराने से शुरू और रुलाने से खत्म. ये एक जुल्म है जिसे लोग मोहब्बत कहते हैं. जुम्मा मुबारक. अल्लाह हाफिज़.
Excellent. Allah Hafiz.